Hi, everybody. It's Jill here with Illuminating Women, and we are at one of our coffee break and connects that we're still being able to meet during the COVID-19. Because in Illuminating Women, one of the things that's really important to us is connecting with one another, but it's also our education, because we believe that when women are educated, they empower their lives. It encourages them and they become more powerful women, and that's so important. Well, one of the reasons I have asked this special guest to come and take our 15-minute break to learn 3 really valuable points. She is a body worker, and I have heard a lot of women saying, you know, I'm working at home more, and I'm sitting down, and my neck is hurting, and my back is hurting because I'm behind the computer all the time. I'm not getting to do some of the other activities, and that pain can, that pain is telling you something, and it's your body likes to tell you something. Well, if you've ever worked with Jennifer, done any of her yoga classes, done any body work from her, you know that she's just like a gift from heaven. I love this woman. So Jennifer, I thank you for coming to this place today. Now, welcome, and share with us some pointers that we can learn about how we can keep our neck and our back and sitting and all that. So teach us something today. Thank you again.
Sure. Yeah, thanks so much. Today we are going to go through a sitting exercise, because even though you may have been sitting your whole life, all the way from, grade school on, we generally as humans have not been taught how to sit in a way that's supportive for ourselves. And that is probably one of the biggest contributors to back and neck pain that I've seen in my practice in the last 14 years that I did have my practice. And that is something that almost every client who goes through my practice door has received, is a sitting lesson. So we're going to do that today, because I think when you understand where your body is, that will give you a better understanding of when you start to feel some discomfort. You can check back in with yourself, check in with how you're using your body, and then go, oh, that's what I'm doing. Let me see if I can do something to change that, as well as a couple other little tips. So let's just get into it. So wherever you're seated, if you're sitting on a chair, that would be ideal for this. Come to the front edge of your chair so that the backs of your thighs are off of the chair. Your back is away from the back of your chair, and your feet are in front of you, flat on the ground, pretty much right underneath your knees, so about a 90-degree angle at your knees. So you kind of form almost the same shape as your chair, the base of your chair and your chair legs with your own body. Now, bring your awareness to your pelvis, and this is something that you can do with your eyes closed if that feels comfortable, because this is really a felt sense. So just gently press your feet down into the floor. Just feel the whole bottom surface of your feet connected to the ground. Bring your awareness into your pelvis. And here, start to tuck your tail under, so like around your back, as if you're going to slouch, right? Like you're a teenager slumped on the couch playing video games. Maybe some of you have said teenagers, so you know what that looks like. Now, pausing here, you can even notice in your body where your head is relative to your spine, right? Because if I were to look at you from the side, your spine would be in a capital C shape, right? Take a deep breath in, or at least try to. Notice how full that breath is, or maybe how easy or how difficult that breath is to get in this slouch position. Now, bring your awareness back into your pelvis, and without moving anything else, start to stick your butt out a bit. Stick your butt out as far as you possibly can, like you have got an arched back, heart pressing forward. And now this is the other end of your sit bones, the things that you sit on your pelvis. Now, you can feel how your chest opened up and you didn't have to do anything, right, with your shoulders. Now that you found each end extreme, find a Goldilocks place. Let your tail drop just a little bit so that you find a more neutral pelvis. It won't be as far back as you were before, but now notice how more upright you are. And now take a deep breath in and notice, compared to when you were rounded back, how does that compare? Yeah, does that feel different? And anybody who's on the call, you're welcome to chime in on what you feel too. So when in doubt, to know where you are when you're sitting, you can go to each end extreme by rounding yourself all the way back, be that teenager on the couch, or be that person who's about ready to jump off the edge of their chair with your back arched, butt sticking out, and then find the Goldilocks place that's right in the middle. And that is your neutral pelvis. That allows your rib cage and your neck to be more supported and on top of your pelvis. And what's supporting you in the seated position? Your legs and your pelvis, right? So the more support you have from below, the happier your upper body is going to be as well. Because the more stacked all these segments are on top of each other, the better that's going to feel. Now, if this is hard for you to sustain, which it might be, that's okay. Just know that likely you need some help getting that support within your own body so that sitting upright is not a labor-intensive effort for you. Because believe it or not, it doesn't have to be, and it can also be an easy thing to sit upright. Now, if you don't believe me, as many clients who have said, and even one in a video a while back, who was like, I didn't believe her when she said that I'd be able to sit upright with ease, but believe her because I really can. And it was adorable. But, you know, it's one of those things that you don't know what's possible until you feel it. But this is the very beginning to know where your body is and how to use it. And contrary to popular belief, you don't actually need the back of your chair when you have the support within your own body. When we've been sitting for a long time, we tend to get tired. So what happens? We start to round back, right? And lean into our chair. And this is kind of the idea of where like, but I need lumbar support. Well, when you have the support in your own body, you don't actually need that. Well, what about ergonomic chairs? Well, people can spend thousands of dollars on ergonomic chairs and then say, but why does my back still hurt? It's not the chair, right? It's not changing the pattern in your own body. There's a lot that can be said about finding a chair that suits you, but the one key point that I want to share with you is to have your pelvis at least in line or above, excuse me, your knees, so that your pelvis is a little bit higher. And even if you're sitting on the ground for some reason, whether it's playing with a pet or kids, if you have your pelvis elevated higher than your knees, it's going to be easier to sit more upright with a long, tall spine, which is going to help everything work more efficiently, which sometimes may feel like a little bit more work for your body, but it's actually in a very functional way. And just like with any exercise that you want to build upon, more practice does help. But you also might need a little bit of support through some body work too from some of my colleagues. One other trick is taking breaks. And I guarantee you that if you drink a lot of water, you will have to get up, right? So more water is something that most of us all need. And when you drink a lot of water, you're going to have to get up and stand up, whether you've been sitting at the computer or for me and some of you over the last many weeks have been sewing a lot of fabric masks. And sewing is equally hard on your body as is sitting at your computer. So regardless of what activity you're doing seated, having that water by you and drinking it will guarantee that you have to get up. You know, and also there's things to do around your workstation in terms of having your monitor high enough so that it's more eye level, arms about in line with your elbows when they're at the keyboard, and just checking in, like, are you leaning really far forward? If it's hard for you to see the text on your screen, at least, I don't know for Apple people, but at least for PC, Control++, like make the text bigger, right? So you don't have to come to your screen. Essentially bring the screen to you by making that text bigger. Very, very simple trick, but if you're straining to read it and bringing your head and neck forward, you can change it with just literally a couple little taps on your keyboard. And then one last little thing that we're going to do movement-wise is for your neck. And so come back into that supported sitting position. And if in doubt, and you need to find it again, let yourself round back. Let yourself come all the way forward, stick your butt out as far as you can, and then find that Goldilocks place again. Now from this place, just go long through your spine. Take a deep breath in. And then very gently, I'm going to mirror you here. Actually, I'll just do it the same way. I'm used to teaching yoga and mirroring. So let's bring our right ear to your right shoulder. Now, a lot of times we'll try to do anything we can to get that ear and shoulder closer together, like doing this kind of thing, or like trying to bend over this way, because look how far I can go. Well, instead of thinking about really reaming this ear down toward your shoulder, think about as if somebody had your ear by their fingers. Maybe some of you had this, but think about reaching that opposite ear up toward the sky. instead. So now you get even more length through the left side of your neck. So if you think of space, how much more space can I create by lengthening rather than crunching, right? Space is the name of the game. And just take a few breaths here. And then just very gently drop your chin down toward your chest. Let your head hang heavy. Keep the rest of your spine long. So avoid letting your spine round here. Just think of from the entire neck, letting it rest down toward your chest. And if you need a little bit more sensation here, you can take your hands, gently place them on the back of your head. And without pulling, just let the weight of your hands just add a little bit of extra weight onto your head if you need a little bit more. And if that's too much, then you just gently take your hands off. But again, without pulling. Gently bring your chin back up to center. Lengthen up through your spine with an inhale. This time, left ear to left shoulder, just to the place of first resistance. Does not matter how far you go, because depth is not what this is all about. It's just finding what works for your body. And again, think about reaching up to the ceiling through your right ear, finding space and length through the right side of your neck. And then breathing into any sensation that you feel into the right side. Take a couple more breaths here. And when you do this on your own, you can be here as long as you want to be. You can come back and repeat things as often as you need to. Gently come back up to center. Now here's one that we generally don't get into very much that I feel is very, very important for people. The front of the throat and the front of the neck, right? Because this tends to be locked short. And most of the time, what people feel in the backs of their necks, all that strain and discomfort, is because of this forward head carriage. And honestly, there's a lot that goes into that, particularly from the feet and the legs and that contribution up. But what we can do is to find a little bit of space here. For a lot of people, dropping their head back creates pinching and pain. It does for me. So here's another way to think about it. Sit up tall again, find your tall supported place, and start to tilt your chin up toward the ceiling a little bit. Again, just come to a place that feels safe for you. Now, imagine that you are a giraffe reaching for the single leaf on the tallest branch of the tallest tree. Think about reaching your chin forward and up, as if you're going to try to reach toward where the wall meets the ceiling on the wall in front of you, so that there isn't any kind of dumping and collapse in the back, but more of a reaching forward and up through the front. Now just gently turn your head over to the right a little bit, and you might feel that into the left front of your throat a little bit. Just take a breath there, coming back to center. Again, keep that neck lifted and reaching forward, and then turn your gaze over to the left, and you might feel that into the right front of your throat. Just take one more breath here, and then gently return your head back to neutral. Okay. And then, of course, you can do some very gentle circles with your neck and stay with any place that feels particularly juicy or particularly needed. So listen to your body, and if you need to repeat things when you do this on your own, go for it. You know, and you can always bring your own hands, as many of you may have been doing, you know, into some of these structures, just very gently, always being gentle and kind to yourself, because yeah, you don't need to ream on yourself to be effective at all. But just some things to have awareness about, particularly how you're sitting and the duration for how long you sit. Believe me, I've been doing a lot of sewing in the last probably 6 weeks, and it's really easy to get engrossed in projects. And you know, I purposefully will stage how I'm working so that I have to get up to you know, like iron things, to pin things, and I make sure that I'm getting up. And then of course doing some stretching and some yoga as well. So, and some dancing. Dancing is important to me. So for those of you who are on the call, you're welcome to either unmute yourselves or come back onto your screen. If you have questions about what we just went over, if you need any clarification, particularly on the sitting exercise, and know that this is recorded so you can keep coming back to it if you can't remember exactly what it is that we went over. But when in doubt, find those end extremes and then find center again, and know that it's okay if that feels challenging right now. But there are ways to make that a lot easier for yourself that you can't always do by yourself. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been employed the last 14 years. So, but that awareness within your body is definitely the first step to understand how you might be able to make some very subtle changes to help your body feel better.
Oh, that is I love those, and they're such easy little tips, and it's mindful to take those breaks. And you're right, if we drink more water, and I love the self-care. This is self-care, and when we do this, we're going to feel better. We're going to have greater performance, and healthy women are a powerhouse to be had. So I'm going to stop recording so that we can still chat and ask a few questions. And I want to thank you again, Jennifer, for coming on and doing this and taking your time to give us some very valuable tips. Please watch these, do these, practice these, and stay healthy, everybody. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.